The Electoral Commission is coming under increasing criticism from civil society for its insistence on procuring a new voters register for the 2020 elections. Opposition parties led by the National Democratic Congress continue to pile pressure on the Commission to back down on the decision as they question the timing and the cost. Over the weekend, the parties led hundreds onto the streets of the northern regional capital, Tamale, to register their displeasure. Here is a wrap.
It was a congregation of hundreds of party supporters from 13 political parties, civil society organizations, as well as a blind association. They all defied a cold and dry Harmattan morning to join the demonstration, seeking to pressure the Ghana Electoral Commission out of a decision to compile a new voter register. The demonstration, held in the northern regional capital of Tamale, was dubbed Siku Sagri, We Will Resist. Organizers are impressed with the turnout. They believe it is a signal strong enough to stop the EC in its tracks one after the other. The speakers urge the EC to listen to the voice of the people.
If you look at the number of people that has been called onto the street this morning, it's overwhelming. We are indeed overwhelmed, and that is what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to make a very loud, statement to the government and to the Electoral Commission.
As the group has served a notice of ongoing on more of such demonstrations, Chairman of the PNC, Bernard Mona, commended the police for a professional work. He said they will cooperate with a professional Ghana police, but will resist any unprofessional conduct of the security agency in subsequent demonstrations.
Second, let me congratulate the Ghana police for behaving so professional today. If the police of Ghana will continue to become a professional police, citizens will respect the mandate of the police and we shall cooperate with them. If the police become police of Ghana, they can be assured of our support to make their work easy. But if the police become the police of Nana Akufo-Addo, we shall assure them that they will never get cooperation from us.
They are looking to hit the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, and the nation's capital, Accra, with series of demonstrations. On his part, the national chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, questioned why the EC appears to be in a haste to compile a new register when the population census is yet to be conducted.
Our issues are very simple. Every 10 years, the Statistical Service organizes population census, population and housing census, and then the figures and the demography of the country are made known so that all public institutions can use those figures and statistics to plan their way forward. We are asking the Electoral Commission this year the population and housing census is to be undertaken by the Statistical Service. Why would not allow the Statistical Service to finish with the population census so that we know the figures and the population statistics of the country before we even plan going ahead to do new registration? That is our first question.
The presidential candidate of the APC, Hassan Ayariga, said the EC cannot turn around after it touted the voter register as credible a few months ago, with which it conducted district-level elections. He said they have no doubts about the credibility of the register. Other speakers included the minority leader, the NDC General Secretary.
We cannot struggle to build a democracy for 30 years only to allow one individual to just come and break everything apart. So we are saying that we will never agree for our democracy to be toyed with. So this is the beginning of a long drawn battle to protect the democracy.
The MP for Sanarigu, the NDC candidate for Tamale Central, among other big rigs of the various political parties.
Well, that's a reminder of what happened over the weekend. Now, civil society actors are unhappy with the posturing of the Electoral Commission. They're saying the electoral body ought to consider the concerns being raised and act accordingly. Law lecturer and private legal practitioner Clara Berry Kasati says compiling a new voter register has implications on the citizenry who may have to queue to register. Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement for the Center of Democracy Development, Dr. Kojo Asante, is also questioning the timing of the Electoral Commission's decision to compile a new voters register with 11 months to the general elections. Dr. Asante fears there may not be enough time to compile and test the system before the vote.
The EC had a press conference. I don't know what the discussions they had, but so as far as I understand with this, the EC's plan for a new register is that so they make a case about equipment being obsolete and so on and so forth. Others have made the case that maybe you can migrate the current register onto a new software provider system, and then maybe still do a limited voter registration, replace some of the equipment. So there's an alternative to having to do a new one. I think for me, either of those issues, depending on what the technical advice is, you can go either way. The big issue is time, because there's a census in March, and ideally, if there's a census, you normally wait for the census to be done so that you can have the right numbers and estimate how many people that you're expecting to register. So if it comes in March, it means that it's going to delay when the voter register starts. If you're going to have a new machines and new systems and so on and so forth, then it might be harder, given the time period, to be able to test it and be confident going into a new election. So for me, I think the issue have to also go back to IPAC, because IPAC asks for further information, and I think if the EC had taken that opportunity, it would have been helpful, so that people get more understanding. So I mean, for me, it's not even the question of those options, it's the question of what you can do realistically within the time frame. And also, you know, the national ID process is also going on. So there are all these sequencing problems that suggest that, you know, maybe you have to look at what is feasible.
On his part, law lecturer Justice Sremsai describes the EC's arguments in favor of a new register as extremely weak. Here are extracts of a post he published on the matter.
This EC has not been able to even publish the results of the last general elections over 3 years down the line. Yet, they are here telling you that they can create an entirely new voter register with a facial recognition whatnot and issue new voter ID cards in just a few months to the general elections. So quite apart from the extremely weak argument they have been making in support of a new voters register, the EC people have been terrible at meeting critical timelines. But the main reason no one should take their intransigence lightly is that the resulting damage from a failed new register is irreparable.